This is Paul McGUIRE. You're listening and watching the Paul McGUIRE Report. Okay, let's get down to business. Jesus said, "Occupy until I come," and the actual translation of Jesus Christ's words, "Occupy until I come," means do business until I come. What kind of business was Jesus Christ talking about? He was talking about the business of saving souls, the business of winning people to Christ, the business of standing up in a loving way for righteousness, the business of bringing in the last day's soul harvest, the business of intercessory prayer warfare, the business of loving your neighbor as yourself, the business of helping people who are suffering now for various reasons, the business of standing up for what is right. That's just part of the business we should be involved with. All of us, every single person who dares to describe themselves as a son or daughter of the Most High God is to be doing kingdom business in what the Bible calls the last days. We're in the last days. So, since the time of the Northridge earthquake and many other catastrophic events that have happened to me personally, where I was going to tell the whole story and I was advised not to, so I'm not going to. All I can tell you is this, that there have been powerful entities who feel that my overall message of analyzing and providing documentation and knowledge and backed by verifiable facts on everything from economics to Federal Reserve, the qualified medical research of experts and so on and so forth, they consider, it's very interesting, the enemies of Christ, the enemies of truth, the enemies of love, they know who their primary enemies are. And their primary enemies are all those people that are speaking the truth in love and in a documented, credible fashion. Because that affects massive change in California, America, and the world. And that's what I've been doing for at least 40 years. And I don't tell the real amount of years because nobody would believe me. There's a lot of things I don't tell you because I know human nature, they won't believe you. Because, you see, my norm is not the same as a lot of people's norms. Therefore, my path in life has been completely different than a lot of people's paths. And that's not for the purpose of bragging, that's just how it is. So, I am very aware of things like directed energy weapons because I have had encounters with directed energy weapons, and we'll just leave it at that. And you fill in the dots. You need to pray for every truth teller and never ever believe, if that day should ever come, never ever believe the official report or the official story regarding a legitimate truth teller. They will create a totally fictitious narrative about anybody, including you. They will create a fairy tale story, a fairy tale biography that is totally a bunch of manufactured lies about you for the targeted and intentional purpose of attempting to discredit you, for attempting to marginalize you, and for attempting to suppress your voice. So, when your voice spreads, like my voice by the grace of God, we were reaching massive millions of people a number of years ago, when they started to use algorithms and bots to censor truth tellers, all of a sudden, mysteriously, we went from reaching countless millions of people to a very fraction of that amount. Now, I know other people that they don't exist any longer. And then they make up stories about these people and say, well, the reason that happened to them was because of such and such. And it's all lies. It's all lies. So you can never believe the so-called official story. You can never believe the lies that are being manufactured to cover up their crimes. They'll make up a story that demonizes people, that marginalizes people. They'll make up a story to discredit someone. And with all the computer stuff like Photoshop, and that's just like the kindergarten level stuff, they can create photographs, they can recreate your voice, they can make up an article you wrote that you didn't write. They can fabricate every part of your life with the intended purpose of bringing you down and causing you to be discredited, so people will discredit all the truths that you spent a lifetime risking your life to communicate and tell. And you need to be savvy about that. You need to be aware of that. If somebody calls them themselves a Christian and does not know the basic facts that we're in an all-out sociological war, technological war, scientific war, psychological war, psyops war, or psychological operations war, if people are not aware of that, if they're not aware of the fact that you can use voice-to-skull technology and implant ideas, emotions, thoughts, and words that can come out of people and make it seem like this individual is saying this or that, that is all a manufactured reality. It's all a synthetic reality. It's all an artificial reality. Now, people like Elon Musk and many, many others, they're talking about this, they're warning about this openly. Usually when they talk about AI or artificial intelligence, if you pay attention to what they're really saying, the people in the know, when they talk about artificial intelligence, they're telling you, if you listen really carefully to what they're telling you, and also these powerful agencies and entities and scientific groups, etc., they have the capacity to make up a completely artificial reality and make up a completely synthetic personality. And the reason they do that is their goal is to, on a mass level, is to discredit any individual who's highly effective in turning people from delusion and illusion and waking people up. Anybody who's highly effective at doing that, and has been doing that for a long time, is subject to a constant stream of attacks in which they use technology that's highly advanced. And most people, because they've been sociologically and psychologically dumbed down, can't wrap their heads around the facts, can't wrap their heads around the reality that there are technologies and sciences and psyops and all kinds of things that actually do exist and have existed since the 1940s or earlier, that are being employed on a mass level to maintain an illusory reality. And when you create a reality based on a sequence of illusions, you're doing that for the express purpose of distortion. You're distorting reality so that you can intentionally discredit the truth tellers. And your goal, your primary goal in discrediting the truth tellers, is to create a made-up reality, a made-up Brave New World society, a made-up Big Brother 1984 society, like the novel from George Orwell. And to create this artificial reality, because when you create an artificial reality, that gives you the option and it gives you the power to maintain an environment of total surveillance, total domination, total control. So the globalist elite, the people behind the Great Reset, the people who manipulate the value of our currency and so on and so forth, these people are secretly pushing forward their plan. And their plan is to create an artificial reality and 24/7 total surveillance. So you have people like Zbigniew Brzezinski, one of the founders of the Council on Foreign Relations, Rockefeller's right-hand man, and one of the founders of the Trilateral Commission and the unification of South America, North America, Canada, the United States, and Mexico. And Brzezinski wrote in his book, which I've read many times, Between Two Ages, he wrote how the globalist elite can dominate any given society through technology and science, and most importantly, continual 24/7 constant surveillance. So in my books, and now I'm telling you to get the books and get knowledge, because the day will come when they will shut down all truth from the internet, all truth that potentially threatens their consolidation of control and power. They'll shut it all down. Mark my words, that's your greatest threat. They will shut down the internet en masse, and you will find what you didn't expect at all, which is books that you hide books that you manage to secretly hide are going to be of great value and great worth, because in the contents of books like I write and some other people write, books written by truth tellers decode this entire matrix reality. And so in my book Power from On High, or Are You Ready, or The Day the Dollar Died, or The Greatest Battle for the Hearts and Minds of Mankind in the History of the World, I talk about Brzezinski, Mass Awakening. I talk Who Will Rule the Future. I talk about the plan by the globalist elite to turn the entire world into a communist Chinese style totalitarian society. That's why do you think the motive is in deliberately vaporizing with directed energy weapon technology? They're vaporizing the suburbs, they're vaporizing the rural areas, and that is done with intentionality, because after they vaporize the suburbs, they vaporize the rural areas. Their game plan is to force people to live in what the United Nations calls 15-minute cities. Now, they make it sound like a 15-minute city is going to be like paradise on earth, but they are professional liars. They're lying to you. A 15-minute city is going to be manufactured as cheaply as possible, because a 15-minute city represents the vision of people who are the wealthiest people in the world. The globalist elite, the trillionaire elite, the billionaire elite. They're the wealthiest people on planet Earth, and they have an insatiable lust for total domination and power. And they're right in the middle of creating a great reset. And the Great Reset is a partnership between globalist corporations. The Great Reset is the conglomeration of billionaires and trillionaires. And the goal of the Great Reset is to vaporize and incinerate the rural areas, the suburbs, and force the masses of people, whether they like it or not, but force them to live in 15-minute cities. But the 15-minute cities are not the little mini paradises they lie about, and lie about when they try to convince you that you're going to love these 15-minute cities. The 15-minute city is a deathly vision created by totalitarian socialists, totalitarian Marxists, and totalitarian communists who plan to use advanced technology. Like, so for example, communist China has probably over 100 million cameras spying on its population, monitoring every movement of the population. Communist China then will embed over the camera, which is videotaping its billions of citizens, there'll be a running score, either a positive score or a negative score, as the cameras record your every move. It's called a social credit card system. The UN wants America, the Rockefeller wants America to have this UN communist Chinese system in which every behavior, everything you say, everything you think, everything you do is either going to win you points in the communist system, or it's going to win you negative points in the communist system. And you're always being tracked by these totalitarians. So even your own mind, your own brain, is no longer a private space or a private area. Your own mind or your own brain can be viewed. Technology exists right now as I'm talking to you. There's an enormous amount of technology that currently exists, that currently is operational, and as the Communist Chinese and the United Nations and all the other totalitarians are spying on you 24/7, they're keeping a running score that's either going positive or negative about you, that's connected to what's called the world brain. And the ultimate goal of this is total domination, total slavery, total enslavement of the population. And so, if every word, everything you speak, the secret audio microphones recording everything you say with running totals, and what you will wake up to find is that all your freedoms are gone, and you'll either be getting negative or positive points. So if you get caught by media or AI saying something that's critical of their social credit system or critical of their Great Reset, then you will potentially be thrown in prison. You will be charged higher interest rates on anything you purchase. You will get much higher interest rates if you apply for a car loan or a home loan. You will be punished. You will be subjected to an endless series of cruel, draconian punishments where you're punished financially. You won't be able to get the house you want. You won't be able to get the medical care you want. You won't be able to get anything you want, the food you want, if the big brother system that is always spying on you. And remember, you don't even have privacy inside your own brain, because the latest technology of artificial intelligence can read your thoughts. I'm not making this up. If you have a problem with what I just said, then it's incumbent upon you to do your homework, to do your research, and to find out for yourself whether or not what I'm telling you is true or false. And I challenge you to do your homework. If you do your homework, you will discover that what I'm saying to you is true, and that all these horrific and negative punishments will be used as levers in your life to dominate you and enslave you. And it gets so bad that they'll send you to prison and they'll sell your body organs, like your arms, your heart, your kidneys, your sexual organs, whatever. They'll sell your bodily organs for millions of dollars to foreign buyers. Because you see, you've got to understand, these people hate Christian beliefs. They hate Christianity. You've got to come to terms with that. Whether it's certain agencies and powerful people in the United States, whether or not it's the United Nations, whether or not it's Communist China, all of these systems are godless systems. And because they're godless systems, they are created along with AI technology to punish you severely and harshly. Let me say it again. These technologies are designed to punish you severely and harshly so that you suffer, and they want to make it so miserable and hellish for you that their intention is to punish you so severely that you will, like a slave, follow their orders, follow without questioning Whatever they tell you to do, you do it without questioning. The world that they have designed for you, they lie. Remember, these people do not believe in right and wrong. You've got to come to terms with the bigger picture. These people do not believe in right and wrong. They don't believe in God. They don't believe in evil and good. They only believe in humanism, self. They only believe in might makes right. Communism rests on the principle of Charles Darwin's false theory that might makes right. Only the fittest survive. Communism, Marxism, Luciferianism, Satanism, every one of these godless systems are built on the architecture of total nightmarish cruelty. George Orwell said it. I can't remember how he said it word for word. The author of 1984, which was about a big brother government. But he warned, George Orwell warned that this big brother government would be so cruel, so totalitarian, that it would be like military boots stomping on your face as hard as a full soldier wearing, iron and leather military boots begins to stomp on your face with all of his strength and might. He's stomping on your face until the blood and your shattered nose and your eyeball pops out of your head. And Orwell, the author of 1984 and Big Brother, Orwell said that the future for mankind, if this Orwellian government comes into power, will be like boots stomping into your face over and over again. Endless pain. These boots will be stomping into your face, and it'll never end. And he said it better than I said it. But you see, he was an expert in what totalitarianism is designed to bring about. You're offended, I'm offended, you're horrified, I'm horrified by sex trafficking gangs that work in partnership with cartels and drug trafficking gangs. And the sex trafficking gangs kidnap little boys and little girls at the youngest of ages. I'm talking about 6 years old and younger or older. Little girls and little boys are abducted by cruel sex trafficking gangs, totalitarian governments, totalitarian mafia governments, and these sex trafficking gangs, they kidnap and they steal little boys and little girls, and then they sell the bodies and lives of the little boys and the little girls. They sell their bodies to consumers like American men, American women, and so on and so forth, not just in America, but all around the world. I cannot describe for you, I cannot describe to you the abomination after abomination after abomination of exactly what goes on to little boys and girls who become the victims of these sex trafficking gangs. They actually have tunnels built all over America and all over the world to transport secretly the little boys and little girls. They have deep underground bases, DUMBs, DUMBs, deep underground bases run by military, criminal cartels, billionaires, trillionaires. It's one of the biggest sources of illegal income for totalitarian governments around the world and cartels around the world.